Hi, this is JP Morgan. Today on the Slanted Lens, we're going to talk about snoots. I keep getting questions about snoots. I don't want to talk about snoots, but we're going to talk about snoots today. It's probably a good thing to talk about because we've never talked about them before. So we're going to talk about what a snoot does on set and just kind of see how it works, what we can do with it, how we can make it work. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Snoots. Subscribe to the Slanted Lens. We got great lessons coming all year long. Subscribe to Slanted Lens. Hi, this is JP Morgan, and today on the Slanted Lens, we're going to answer the age-old question, what is a snoot? Well, we're still at the YouTube space and going strong, so let's look at what a snoot is. Let's examine the area of coverage of a snoot. Let's look at the quality of light you get from a snoot. And lastly, let's light a film noir shot using snoots. What is a snoot? In photography or video, a snoot is a tube or similar object that fits over a studio light or portable flash and allows the photographer or videographer to control the direction or area of coverage of the light. In film, we use black wrap to create snoots. It's basically black aluminum foil that you form into a funnel and mold over the light. It's basically a tool to stop light spill and to narrow the area of coverage. What is the area of coverage for a snoot? You know, there are so many different sizes and different manufacturers, and you create them yourself. There's really no one standard. The one I have is fairly average, so let's take a look at how it compares to a grid. Grids will become our baseline here. We're going to see how snoots compare to grids, which we understand, and that'll help us to understand better what a snoot will do. Here's a shot we did with our talent with just a snoot. The area of coverage at 8 feet from the wall is very narrow, and the fall off is very sharp, a sharp circle of light. In this image, there seems to be a certain amount of fill in the dark areas. I don't think the snoot was sealed onto our 7-inch reflector well enough because it's been my experience that there shouldn't be any fill in the shadow areas. If a snoot is controlled right, it's just going to be a very hard light with no fill in the shadow areas. Here's the same photograph using a 10-degree grid. The edges are softer and the area coverage is broader. The light falls off much faster with the grid. There's a hot spot in the center which the snoot doesn't have. The snoot is like a hole cut in the area of coverage from the reflector. The quality of light with a snoot is just a little bit harder than a grid. What I mean by that is the reflector is silver, so you have light that comes directly through the front of the grid, and you also get light that bounces off the sides of the reflector through the grid. So there's almost 3 light sources going on. With a snoot, it's so far in front of the reflector that it cuts that bounce light. You just get the light coming straight through the center of the light. The snoot has a small area of coverage and a hard light quality. When you compare it to a 10-degree grid, you can see that the light is more contrasty and harder. The shadows are less open than what you're going to get on the grid. So in essence, it has a small area of coverage, it's a harder light, has less fill. This is a quality of light that certainly has its place on set. There are things you can do with this quality of light that make it very useful. So let's go ahead and make an image happen using only snoots. This is our starting shot. As we explained in our last lesson with grids, our setup here is 3 street lights made from ABS pipe that have source 4 lights behind them, creating these shafts of light in the smoke. The car is created with 2 650 tungsten lights clamped to a bar. The stand and the bar are covered by black cloth. The ground is black plastic with water covering it. We used 1x4s rolled in the plastic to create a dam for the water to sit in. That's our set, and that's the tungsten light that lay the background for our shot. Let's look at our camera settings. I'm shooting on the Mark III with a Tamron 24 to 70mm lens. I'll be shooting as wide as I can get at 24mm. The shutter speed is 1/8 of a second to help burn in the source 4 lights, and my aperture is at f6.3. Our first light is a PhotoFlex FlexFlash that was placed down low coming in from camera right. We will use black wrap and make a homemade snoot to control this light. This gives us a nice highlight on his face that looks very much like the light coming from the car. We now added a Dynalite pencil light in the street light in the background. It gives us a nice glow around that light. I love these pencil lights, man. Our next light is a key light using the snoot. We're going to use the only snoot that I own. It's an old Speedotron snoot. It fits onto a 7-inch reflector. I'm going to keep it low so it will reflect up into his face like it's coming off from the car lights. I'm going to keep the exposure down low so it integrates into the scene. I don't want it to be too bright. Our last light is a rim light from camera left to create a rim light on him and then to key light her face. So that's our lighting setup. Let's get creative and shoot some images with our snoots. We're going to use the ROSCO Hazer to fill the room with haze and create the mood. It's going to help us create a setting and an environment with little or no set. Let's take a look at some of the unedited images. We got some great images with snoots and a diffuser. This type of look is very compelling to me. I absolutely love it. Here are the edited color images. We've just cleaned up the floor and the faces of the people. They're retouched. These are the finals that we're going to use and convert into black and white now. Just like we said when we shot our grids, black and white becomes a test of a true film noir shot. Snoots are a hard and contrasty light source that helps to create great black and white images, because black and white needs contrast, and that's exactly what snoots do. Here are some of the black and white images we shot with our snoots. These past 2 lessons on grids and snoots have been a great exercise for me. It's helped me understand the difference between a snoot and a grid. Snoots do have the advantage when using black wrap of being any size you want them to be. Grids have 4 sizes, 10, 20, 30, 40. They both have a place on set and will help us solve the lighting problems that we face. And that's a look at snoots. And that's all I've got to say about that. Smoking giveaway this month from ROSCO, a V-Hazer. Go to theslanterlens.com. Do not miss out. Now that you've finished this video and gotten great lighting instruction, just click this little button. Push right here. It's not that hard. Just push, click. There you go. You can do it. Yeah.